Welcome to the Best Sports Betting Podcast, where we'll talk about reviews, previews, tips and all things betting related. Brought to you by bestsportsbetting.co.za. Now, on to our hosts.
How's it, punters? Welcome back to Best Sports Betting. We have an action-packed show today. We're going to be covering a lot of the recent sporting action. We're going to be running through some of the EPL results, taking a look at the cricket, the Super Bowl, of course, and then we're going to have a look forward at the EPL coming up this weekend, the Oz Open, and a quick touch on the Six Nations. With me, as always, is Simon. Simon, long weekend for us, late Saturday, Sunday night rather, early Monday morning with the Super Bowl on, and was a cracking weekend for sports, though.
It was. The Super Bowl did not go as expected. We'll get into that, I'm sure, shortly. But it was a really, really great weekend of sport, obviously including the City Liverpool game and some cricket, and it was fantastic. There really was a lot on, and of course the Australian Open has also just started yesterday. So yeah, lots to look forward to as well. Lots
and lots of goals in the Premier League this weekend, and I've highlighted a few fixtures that I'd like to chat about here. Obviously, we're gonna touch on the Liverpool City one last, but United versus Everton 3-3. Everton, my bogey team. I'm glad I didn't back United there because would have lost. I fancy that to be a low-scoring game. I didn't get involved. I'm glad on several levels that I didn't get involved, but good result for Everton there. And you can't be too disappointed if you're United, considering how the match went. They'd obviously like the 3 points there, but it could have gone.
Especially after, they just seem to be involved in the goals. Obviously they thumped Southampton 9-0 in midweek as well. So just some interesting results there with Man United.
Yeah, and I looked at that 9-0 game and I thought to myself, surely then there's not going to be as many goals in the next game. But 6 goals in the next one, so yeah. Clearly something to look out for. United coming off big wins against smaller sides, getting the confidence up. Then Newcastle, a 10-man Newcastle beating Saints 3-2. I don't want to say it's an upset, but it's a great result for Newcastle.
It is, yeah, especially with a man down. They are just the most unpredictable team. I just every season a little part of me almost just wishes they would go down, so that wouldn't cause me so much stress all the time.
Shame on you.
They always just seem to pull out these results kind of just when you least expect it. They're such an interesting team, but not the best team to support at the moment.
Yeah, but also not the worst team to support because we are still picking up some results. I'd hate to be a Saints fan at the moment, losing, conceding 11 goals in 2 games, but 12 goals, but yeah. Then on to Aston Villa beating Arsenal 1-0. I did mention in the last podcast that I'm not too keen on Arsenal considering their recent form. They are a bit of a tricky team. And I also said on Twitter that I was going to look at fading them after those red cards. And I didn't follow my own advice. I didn't bet on Arsenal in this game. I avoided it completely. But I'm not surprised to see Aston Villa beating Arsenal. And then Arsenal, of course, losing to Wolves a few days before that as well. So I think it's a good time to start fading Arsenal, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, Rob. And let's move on to the
big
City
one.
Liverpool game. Yeah, what were your thoughts on that game?
Yeah,
Rob?
so my thoughts. We had a chat about this. We were struggling to find value on some of the sides. We looked at Liverpool, looked at City, and I decided to go for goals. I fancied over 2.5, over 3.5, both teams to score. Both teams to score in overs. I only bet on both teams to score, and I bet on overs. Both of those came in, so I was pretty happy with that. The goals came later on in the half, much later on than I anticipated. I think that's that shows Liverpool still have something of a game plan to defend, but it did fall apart in the second half. City are going to win the league. There's not much else I can say.
Absolutely agree with that. Yeah, just looking back at sort of the build up to this match, I saw a bit of value in City early in the week, but then as soon as Liverpool, lost to Brighton, their odds came out and Liverpool's odds came out and City's came in, so that value was kind of gone. And then we both did fancy the goals, so I'm disappointed I didn't have a bet on that, but that these came in over 2.5 and over 3.5 would have cashed there. But yeah, I mean, looking at the match, I mean, City looked very relaxed
Yeah.
and measured in the first half, and then. It almost seemed like they were sussing out Liverpool's sort of weaknesses in the first half. And in the second half, they just absolutely dominated. I mean, they put on a very, very good performance. I mean, I would go as far as to say for long patches of that second half, they looked almost untouchable.
Yeah.
And
it was definitely I want to say a shift in gear tactically in the second half. I completely agree with what you're saying about them sussing them out, feeling them out in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen Klopp look so despondent, honestly, in a post-match interview. I think he's got a mountain to climb before Liverpool sort of can even consider themselves title challengers again. Yeah,
they just got picked apart and their weaknesses were exposed. So I'm going to be looking at fading Liverpool going forward. We do have a game coming up against Leicester that I'll have a quick chat about a bit later. But let's jump over to some crickets, Simon. And the second test, Pakistan versus South Africa. We lost the first one. Remind us what happened in the second test.
Yeah, so it was much of the same in the second test against Pakistan. And yeah, hardly surprising, but very frustrating. I mean, aside from Markram, who scored 108 in their second innings, and Temba Bavuma got a 60 and a 40, so he contributed nicely. But other than that, our batting was terribly poor. Our spin bowlers did a bit better. I thought that might be would definitely play to our advantage. And Maharaj and Linda did get some success, but Rabada, who I thought might be sort of the best man to give Pakistan some trouble. I mean, he struggled. I just think that the grassy wicket is obviously not ideal for him, but he really didn't bowl very well. Yeah, so losing the series 2-0. I think overall the Proteas were they were undone by sort of poor preparation for playing on the subcontinent, and also obviously, as I said, dismal performances from the top order. Right now I don't even want to think about how South Africa might fare in a test against a team like Australia or India or England in our current form. I mean, it's absolutely it's a terrifying prospect, to be honest.
And they've also just Australia have cancelled their tour to South Africa.
That's right.
So,
yeah,
but bit of a disappointment there.
Maybe a saving grace.
Yes. Just looking at this result, I'm wondering how much and you mentioned the lack of preparation, and I wonder how much the lack of international cricket has affected these guys. I mean, sure you've got some smaller leagues going on, but they aren't there's not a lot of test cricket going on. It's only somewhat recently started up. So I mean, I'm going to be looking to fade some of these bigger teams, to be honest. You look at these sides, going forward. If you have test matches coming up, I'd advise looking at the sides a bit more into their more recent form than some of the historical form, because that's going to count a lot more.
Absolutely, it should almost level the playing field a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like if India were to come down to South Africa, and South Africa's okay, don't quote me on this, but let's say South Africa's beaten India in every single test match that they've ever played in South Africa in the series-wise, and India were to come visit, I would probably be looking to bet on India if they are showing any sort of form, and they have been playing any sort of cricket. I feel like we haven't been playing enough. So yeah, I'm not gonna carry on too much with my rant, but I'm not too impressed with our state of cricket at the moment, especially the test side.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Rob. Should we chat a bit about the Super Bowl?
Yes, the big one, Super Bowl 55, and we both thought the Chiefs would win a comfortable one, but the Buccaneers ran out, absolute blowout winners on the day. Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
And we were arguing back and forth. You convinced me over to the Chiefs side. I started doing some research. I did throw some interesting facts at you in our conversation, saying that Brady in the spread, Brady in the Super Bowls, and obviously it was just one stat. But wow, what a game, man!
Yeah, he is a factor for sure. I mean, I mean, there's no getting away from it. I was very, very high on the Chiefs. And they lost 31-9. I mean, it was a long night, as I said earlier. I was a bit of a zombie on Monday, but it wasn't even close. I mean, the Bucs defense suffocated the Chiefs. I mean, Patrick Mahomes looked completely lost. He did have a slightly injured toe, but I think 99 out of 100 people thought that wasn't going to affect him too much, but they just never got their offense going. Several of Mahomes' passes were dropped. Some of them hit receivers in the face mask, and basically, the Chiefs were just forced to settle for field goals when the Bucs were scoring touchdowns. I mean,
It reminds me somewhat of a Super Bowl years ago with the Broncos playing at the Mile High, and I can't remember exactly who they were playing against. Might have been the 49ers, or I can't quite remember. But it was a season where Manning was dominant, and the Super Bowl started, and I mean the first play was just a disaster. There was a safety or something on the first play, and that just set the tone. And the Broncos were huge favorites going into that one, and they got smashed. And I feel like you can say the same thing here. I think the public must have just killed the bookmakers on this one with their love on Brady with that plus.
Sure. Well, that's the thing. I think there would have been a lot of smarter money, if you want to call it, but it wasn't so smart, obviously, on the Chiefs. But I mean, we were talking, on WhatsApp and considering taking an alternative handicap. I mean, I was so confident on the Chiefs that I was considering taking minus 13.5 at around 4-1. Because I just thought, the implied probability there and the odds was much lower than it should have been, and I was that confident in the Chiefs. So I'm glad I didn't take that in the end.
I think I sent you a minus 13.5 price on the Bucs by accident.
Yeah,
too bad I didn't take that.
Which was 10-1, which is 10-1, which
terrible.
just shows you the difference between 4-1 and 10-1. And what that tells you in the odds is that even though this match was set at 3 points, the Chiefs were 3 points favorite. What it shows you that the Bucs were 10-1 to win by 14 points, and the Chiefs were only 4-1, is that there was a very good possibility of the Chiefs absolutely running away with this in comparison to the Bucs. I mean, you could have taken that Bucs price obviously at 10-1 and it would have come in, but the bookmakers were so certain that if any team was going to run away with it, it wasn't going to be the Bucs. It was going to be the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So it was just all round very, very surprising. I mean, then when it came to the props, I mean, I liked the Kansas City Chiefs to score the last touchdown while they didn't even score a touchdown. So that was an absolute fail. I mean, one stat which really kind of just resonated with me and really kind of set it home was, the Chiefs have actually, since 2017, since Patrick Mahomes has been a quarterback, they haven't lost by double digits in any game, regular season or postseason. So, for them to lose by 20 odd is just 21 it's 22 is just insane.
Yeah.
It really is. So a brutal day overall for me, but I think it's really kind of summed up the tough season in the NFL from a betting perspective, and I'm kind of glad it's over, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. And I didn't get too involved this season, and I think I would have been burnt very badly. And I've mentioned that a couple of times during the podcast or over the past history of our podcasts. And I did get involved in some prop bets. I took a couple fun ones. I didn't take anything too serious. I lost most of my prop bets. Most of them fell incredibly short. They were more on receiving yards and individual players and stuff like that, and a couple on points. But no harm done for me. I enjoyed the spectacle. I'm just glad I didn't get overly involved in the Chiefs. I was really confident on them. So I dodged a bullet there. I did get involved in some of the alternative handicaps, but at those prices, I wasn't too bummed about losing, because the Chiefs could have covered the spread, and some of my alternatives would have lost anyway. So it's a risk that you take. But yeah, great Super Bowl. Hopefully we can have a nice long preview for the next season when it restarts again. That's November, hey? I believe it starts up October, November. When does it start? Or was it September? September, hey?
It's normally August or September. Yeah,
sorry.
Here we go. Yeah, that's right. Unless it's going to be different this season. I don't think it would be, because the season did start on time. So.
It is September. I just had a bit of had to dust the cobwebs off there. But yeah, jumping forward to a quick look at the upcoming weekend of Premier League games. I've got 3 kind of key games here that I'm interested in, and I would like to hear your thoughts. What fixtures stand out to you, Simon?
Yeah, they've also got some rounds, the round of 16 in the FA Cup. Nothing's really jumping out to me there. But on the weekend, Leicester face Liverpool at home. And, I would just love to back Leicester here, especially at this price. But unfortunately, with Jamie Vardy out, I have my doubts. Liverpool are just not in a bounce back position at the moment. I just don't see them. I feel like they've kind of taken it one step too far almost. Ideally I would be looking to, or normally I'd be looking to back a team, especially like Liverpool, after losing a match like that. But I just can't see it happening. But at the same time, I don't really want to get with the Foxes against Liverpool without Jamie Vardy. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that game, Rob?
My thoughts on this game is I'm casting my eyes towards under 2.5. You're getting 12 to 10 on it. You know it's Leicester without Vardy. I don't expect too many goals from them. Yes, Liverpool are missing a whole bunch of centre backs. They are struggling at the back, but they can still kind of hold their own on the road. I don't think they're gonna go into this game and attack. I think they're going to need to consolidate after their loss against City. I think they would be happy with a draw here or a 1-0, 2-0 kind of win. And I see this one ending in a draw, possibly maybe Liverpool 1-2-0. I don't see more than 3 goals in this game. That's why my money is going to be going with under 2.5. It's a little crazy, but I just think the price is pretty decent considering how the teams are playing. And also considering some of the recent results, it's one that I'm going to go for.
Yeah, no, I can definitely get on board with that. And then another one I like is Man City take on Spurs on Saturday at the Etihad.
Yes, big one there.
And I think a win to 0 looks the bet here. The match odds don't interest me much at all. It's about 4 to 10 on City. But the bet I like is City to win to 0. And you can actually get that at 11 to 10. And they've conceded 1 goal in their last 10 matches at home. So I really think that odds against for a bet that's happened 9 out of 10 times in the last 10 matches is pretty decent odds.
What odds were you getting there again, Simon?
11 to 10 on City to win to 0.
Okay, because I'm looking here at the same market. Man City to win and both teams to score no, so only one team to score basically.
Yeah.
So it's the same market, and I like that one. I'm not sure what's going to happen in this game. I'm worried it's going to be another goal fest. I mean, Spurs, they can put it on. They can bang them away. City have proven now that that they're looking very, very strong. So I'm looking here at maybe City and over 2.5. But there's not a lot of value there. It's 17 to 20. I think this is a game that I'm probably going to watch. Might have a in-play bet on overs. I'm hoping for a quiet start to the game and then some goals in the second half. Maybe second half, higher scoring half, but I'm not getting too involved in this one. But it does look to be an absolute cracker.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely one of the highlights of the weekend, for sure.
Then we have another one that I've highlighted, Chelsea versus Newcastle. And two interesting teams here. I mean, Newcastle traditionally have somewhat, years ago, have been the bogey team for Chelsea, but I think that has changed over the last couple of years. And I think Chelsea should pick up a fairly comfortable win here. The odds are reflecting that Newcastle are a whopping 11 to 1 to beat Chelsea. I don't think that's going to happen. I fancy Chelsea to run away here. So I'm looking at Chelsea maybe minus 1.5. I think they'll win this one comfortably. I'll take that up until about even money. I think that's going to be where I'm going there. Also, goals are a distinct possibility in this match, so I might also look at Chelsea in the overs. But I do prefer the handicap. Just looking here, you're getting 15 to 20 on the minus 1.5, which isn't too bad. If you want to jump down to minus 2, which I think is a little bit crazy, you're going to get even money. But at that point, I'd much rather take the overs and Chelsea.
Yeah, I agree. I would certainly prefer the overs in Chelsea in that position, especially even if it is just a slightly smaller price, 1.75. I like that. Or sorry, 1.85. I like that.
And then there's Arsenal versus Leeds. I think 1.85, 1.82 on Arsenal is a pretty decent price at home, but I'm fading Arsenal at the moment, so I'm just going to stay away from that game. I do fancy them to beat Leeds. As bad or as much as Arsenal are struggling at the moment, it is a game that they really should win, especially considering they've got games against City coming up, which is going to be I want to say a guaranteed loss. So I've been looking at that one as well, but I haven't decided yet. Any other fixtures that caught your eye, Simon?
No, nothing really for this weekend, but we can chat a bit about the Australian Open if you want.
Yes, Australian Open starting today. And what are your thoughts, Simon? Have you picked an outright winner for us? Have you found any value?
I have. Well, yeah. So it started yesterday, and we didn't really get a chance to preview the Open in terms of outrights last week, but there are two that I like. Both of them have played already, so their odds would have come in a bit because they did win both their matches. In the ladies, I've taken Arina Sabalenka at 10-1 and Elise Mertens at 40-1. As I said, they both won their first round matches yesterday, so those odds will come in a bit. Would have come in a bit. The ladies' draw is wide open again. There's probably 20 players that have a realistic chance of winning. As far as the men's outrights are concerned, I don't have any selections there. I think it's Djokovic's tournament to lose again. This is like the Australian Open is his happy hunting ground. But I think if you really want to have a bet on the men's outright, I would say Daniel Medvedev looks better value than the world number one. So I would certainly take him at about 4-1 rather than Djokovic, or 6-1. Sorry. But today, because this podcast will be going up after the matches start, I do have a couple picks for Wednesday, and. Again, the ladies, I just see that there's more value there, and I like a multi-bet with Bianca Andreescu and Elena Rybakina, and you can get those two combined at odds of 1.7, so 7-10. And I'd recommend taking that bet with bet.co.za because you can get a bit of a boost there. Betway unfortunately only gives you a boost with 5 legs, but you from 2 legs and upwards, you're going to get a boost with bet.co.za. So I would take Bianca Andreescu and Elena Rybakina in the ladies, and that would be tomorrow in the double.
All right, great. And as you heard Simon say, go check that bet out over at bet.co.za. You'll get a little bit of a boost. They've got some great promotions that they run often, and we don't really talk about them too much on the podcast. Hopefully we can change that in the future. Maybe we'll have them up on our next one because they do have a really nice site, and it's changed a lot, and there's some great offers and markets available there.
Absolutely.
But then, Simon, we have some Six Nations, and I know you're keen to have a quick chat here. I haven't been betting on too much rugby. The Carry Cup was my kind of undoing, kind of put me off. So once again, it's a case of not enough rugby being played and whatnot, in my opinion at least. But we have England up against Italy, and you can get nothing on England, Simon. There's odds of 1.0 on Betway, which isn't even money. That's zero. So if I were to pop that into my bet slip, and I put a 10 rand on that, I'm actually getting a 2-cent return. So it's not quite nothing. So
let's set the context for that a little bit, because we didn't preview any games last week, but the Six Nations did kick off on Saturday, and there were actually 2 upsets out of 3 matches. So firstly, Scotland beat England in an empty Twickenham Stadium, which they haven't managed to do since 1983. So that was a very impressive win for Scotland against England. So England didn't start their campaign very well. And then Wales also upset Ireland. Not quite as big of an upset. Yeah. The spread was about 6 points. But nonetheless, Wales upset Ireland. That was at home in Cardiff, 21-16. And then in the other match, France absolutely pummeled Italy 50-10, which was kind of expected in Rome. But looking ahead to the matches coming up this weekend, I actually like Wales to upset Scotland. As impressed as I am by Scotland's performance against England, I still think Wales are a better side, and you can actually get them at 16-10 to win in Scotland, or you can take a plus.
I'm seeing 2.75 here, so 16-10 is pretty much on that money, yeah. No, that's even higher than 16-10 actually. So
that's higher than 16-10. Yeah, that's a good price. I think I pulled that from Sportingbet, but obviously always shop around for the best odds you can find. But that's fantastic. So I was very surprised to see a 5.5 point handicap. That's a tongue twister at 9-10. But I prefer the straight win for a slightly bigger price. As Rob said, 2.75 if you can get it. I like Wales to upset Scotland. That would be my pick for the weekend. But I'm looking forward to some more games. Hopefully England can cover the 37 point handicap, but it's a big one. But we're expecting but that is a massive handicap.
So I have, when Italy play, there's a market that I particularly like, and that's Italy plus in the first half. And Italy, they usually start the game off as well as they can. They slow it down. They try play their style. They stifle opposition. And look, this is Italy. I'm not saying that they're necessarily good at this, but they, from my experience at least, I've had great success betting on this market. So obviously, it doesn't always work.
The best way to see then, I know that you at least used to bet on a lot of rugby, Rob. The best way to see then if there's any value in that would, I guess, be if it's less than 18. Or sorry, if it's because if we split the halves, the handicap would obviously be about 18-18, right? If it's 36 in total.
Yes.
So you basically want to, if it's anywhere near over 18, you probably want to be taking that plus. So I want to be interested to see what the first time, have you got it in front of you, what the first half handicap actually is?
I'm bringing it up now, but generally I like to back it when it is about, as you said, half the price of the handicap. Because I feel that the first half, these big handicaps, the first half is where the teams are going to be fighting for it.
So they have split it right down the middle. So you can get 18.5 at 9 to 10. Italy plus 18.5 at 9 to 10. So, if you're right, and they do have Italy do kind of hold their own a little bit in that first 40 minutes. The bookmakers haven't accounted for that. They've just split the handicap right down the middle, expecting the same amount of points about to be scored in each half. So, Italy plus 18.5 in the first half. Maybe that's a bet.
Yeah, and look, it wouldn't have done too well in some of the other matches. But this is just a bet that I fancy. I'm going to have a tickle on it just to see if it comes in. But otherwise, I'm not going to be getting too involved in the rugby. I will be watching it though, and I'll be cheering on Wales. I'm not the biggest Welsh fans, but I'll be hoping that they beat the Scots for your bet. And then Ireland versus France. I'm not going to be getting involved there. I think Ireland can beat France, but following their loss to Wales, I'm not too confident there. So I just think France on the road are a little bit tricky. You never quite know.
France is a very difficult team to bet against. I find it rugby. Yeah. They're just they can really beat anyone on their day, and they have been in good form in the run up to this tournament, which is obviously reflected in the price there. But I definitely fancy Wales for the upset this weekend.
All right, great, and that's it, guys. That wraps up this episode of the Best Sports Betting Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Simon, thanks for the insight as always. And guys, have a good betting week. Hopefully you'll pick up a couple of winners. I fancy some of the bets that I mentioned earlier. And go check those out if you want to get involved in some of our bets. Guys, have a good one, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.
Thank you for listening. And don't forget to visit our site, Facebook and Twitter pages. Let's go make some money.